Welcome to Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd. The Future Focus Worcester program right here on Unity Radio, Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. It's about forward, upcoming thinking. It's about actionable, forward-thinking urban development here in the city of Worcester. And we had a great opportunity to invite Tony Economou to come in to have this discussion with us. Tony, welcome to Future Focus Worcester.
Thank you for having me today, Ernie. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was always good to see you too, because we used to work at the old station like that. You and Gary Rosen had your own little thing going on.
Yeah.
And thank you for kicking us off. And we're in a new location right now. And thanks to you.
Great digs too. Great staff. Everybody's very pleasant.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We came up with the Future Focus program because of the fact that I think it's important for Unity Radio to have the city officials come in, the education officials come in, school committee come in as well, which they will be in a little bit later on. They have discussion these issues because the city is moving so fast, and people that may have their head in the sand because of the fact that I may not understand the different nuances of how the city's moving. You have to come out of that and start moving in as far as getting your ears open, getting your eyes open, and start really listening to what's happening at city council.
Yeah, no, without question. I think as we were talking before we came on here, it's moving quick and fast, bigger than it ever was before, as you know.
Right.
And people need to really be involved, or they're going to get run over by it.
Right. Literally getting run over because of the fact that there's other people outside the area are finding value in Worcester.
Absolutely.
And there shouldn't be a situation where you're here in Worcester and you may not find that value, but if someone outside is finding the value, they're coming in and they're getting those opportunities, and they're going to go with it with you or without you.
Absolutely. And that's just it. They see the value. You should be seeing the value as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. So the three questions that we have for you, actual questions that are forward-thinking urban development, as I mentioned earlier, we sent about to you in advance, okay, as we are doing for all the city councils. This isn't truth or consequences. We're here to help and here to create knowledge and make sure that our residents are informed here in the city of Worcester, right?
For sure.
So let's start with question number one. As Worcester continues to grow, what specific initiatives are you supporting to ensure new development, including affordable housing, while also building sustainable and walkable neighborhoods?
So thank you. I just received the questions 15 minutes ago. So
Sure.
It probably got spammed in my being new on the council. So
Okay.
I apologize for that.
No, not at all. Speak from the heart.
But even when I was on the council before, I've always supported housing, all types of housing. I sell real estate for a living. So I know we need every level of housing, because if you don't have every level, you're never going to move up. Nobody's going to have that opportunity to move in. So I support what we need to do for housing. Specifically, I think the city put some great programs in place now for developers where they have to meet certain thresholds, or they have to pay in to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which those dollars will get used to create more affordable housing.
Of course.
So I support that 100%. And when you look at how we handle walkability throughout the city, it's always blown my mind. I was just at WPI. I just use a quick example.
Sure.
And they were telling me, it's like, yeah, the students are complaining about walking 2 extra blocks, like from the Becker campus to WPI. Now, if you're familiar with Becker, where Becker was and where WPI is, I don't know.
It's not
2
a bad
blocks,
distance.
3 blocks.
It's not a bad distance.
Not at all.
Especially on a nice day.
Yeah. But people are complaining. And Worcesterites, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to walk a block.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
I support whatever we can do to make our city walkable, for sure. You know, that goes back to even providing the infrastructure, which I feel that sometimes, some periods of times we've done really well with, other periods of times we haven't.
I want to comment on the periods of times maybe what you're referring to. I can recall back when they used to have forums, okay? And they used to invite city officials in. They would lead with it. They would invite group leaders in, and they would invite the colleges in. You have these different forums around the city to get input in reference to these action plans about moving forward. I don't hear that anymore.
So I would agree with you. I haven't heard much about it either. I've heard it more on the park side of things. When we're looking to redo a park or create a new park, they'll have their area meetings with the residents just to get their input.
Sure.
What they'd like to see, how they'd like it to operate. You know, of course, the administration is going to offer what they'd like to see too. And it becomes a workable discussion. Right. How do we get from point A to point B? How do we make it better for our neighborhoods?
And they invited a little bit of everybody to the
Everybody,
table. The
yeah.
college, the businesses, the residents, and people showed up and they gave a little bit of a lunch.
Absolutely.
Like that. And there was a lot of input in there. And that's being not only forward thinking, but that's also being in a situation where you want to be proactive.
Yeah.
I don't feel that sense of proactive unless it is, and I'm just unaware of it. I'm only one person now.
No, I would agree with you. And you know what I think is the number one spot where somebody could get involved is in their neighborhood meetings. Because I know, I'll speak for myself. I know that if any initiatives coming down from the city in any particular area and they have a neighborhood meeting, I'm going to bring that forward to that neighborhood meeting so they can disseminate the information to their, whether it's their email list or mailing list, whatever, however they distribute the info. And that's where people should really start to get involved in, because that's the ground floor.
Well, unfortunately, in the past, I'm not sure if it's taking place today. I'm just bringing up these questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when it comes to voting, people feel as though their vote doesn't count.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people may have a voice in the community and they feel as though they're not being heard.
Well, I'm sorry people feel that way. I'll only speak for myself.
Okay.
For the most part, when people call me, I either call them within the 5 minutes. When I see the message, I'll call them back or I'll email them right back. And I welcome the call. Call me, email me. I don't care when it is, what the issue is. That's what I'm here. That's what I was elected to do, was to respond to you. And then from there, I can tell you how we can work a problem, fix a problem, or there might not be a fix for that problem, you know? So I think it's important for a counselor to be available. That's your job, to
Right.
represent.
And I think that's what people think that is as well. And I'm not sure it's some prerequisite or some description that's out there that says, okay, your counselor is supposed to do this. And here is the mission statement, or here's the description of the responsibilities your counselor is supposed to provide and put forward. I'm not sure there's some paper out there or something
No,
out there that says that.
there's
Each
no-
counselor is different. Okay,
Yeah,
I understand.
everybody's different, right?
Right.
So that's how I like to work. And, you know, when it comes, my sole purpose is I represent District 1. How do I make people's lives, their businesses, and their spare time better in District 1? That's my goal. How do I make it better for you?
Okay, there you go. So we just asked the question, and Worcester continues to grow, of course. We talk about the developments that are taking place. And the question was, once again, for those who are just joining us, as Worcester continues to grow, what specific initiatives are you supporting to ensure new development, including affordable housing, while also building sustainable and walkable neighborhoods? And this is Future Focus Worcester. Once again, I'm Ernie Floyd. Tony Economou is joining me, a city councilor. And we're having these conversations because of the fact that we want to inform you how, one way or another, whether it's through the newspaper, through social media, and also through radio, to us, the city is moving. It's moving really fast, and we want to be informative and let you alert.
Absolutely.
All
aware.
polls,
Be
be
aware.
aware that it's all coming, and at the same time. So now what we're going to do is, you finished with that one? Pretty good?
Yeah, and you know what? As I was just reading the next question too, and as we go, I think you're going to see a lot of this stuff relating.
Okay. All right, then. So let's go on to question number 2, economic opportunity. What steps is the council taking to ensure that local, minority-owned, and small businesses directly benefit from the city's ongoing redevelopment projects?
So I was just elected in November. Our first meeting was the second week of January. If it wasn't the first item on that agenda, it was the second item on the agenda, that the city and economic development look at hiring what's called an OBUDS person, right?
Mhm.
Somebody who can shepherd somebody through the process of starting their business. As you know, Ernie, as we're saying, our city is growing and growing quick. There are many ethnicities in the city. You might have come from another country or area where you don't have to follow all the requirements that we have here. It's daunting. As a small business person, you're not just wearing, how do I earn money? How do I open my business? How do I feed my family? You're dealing with all of it. And I don't feel it's right that we don't have somebody who can shepherd you through the process to say, Ernie, you want to do a radio station? This is what you need to do. Take care of these first 3. When you get them done, bring them back to me, and then let's take it to the next steps, right? I feel that's the only way that we create our own success, and in a timely fashion.
And you couldn't have said it any better than that, because you know what? That is a product of my success. Is I've been able to navigate through the city, meet people, be friendly along the way,
Yeah.
Try not to make any enemies.
Yeah.
You know, and my longevity has been through you and through other different people being friendly enough to me and educating me enough to know these things, and also knowing how to ask the right questions. And unfortunately, some of us, if you don't know, you just don't know. You don't know how to ask the question. But it'd be nice if someone's friendly enough to say, okay, come along.
Yeah.
I'll help you. Come in here. Let's see what's going on. And at least try to have this conversation so that then they can pick and poke and find out which direction you want to go. Oh, I know what you want to do. This is how we can help you.
Right. And the other thing too, as much when I served on the council before, everything was like, how do we get everything online? All right, well, everything's online now, right? And so the balance that's not being struck is you still need that one-on-one personal contact, right? I can't keep typing everything into a program that tells you to do ABC. Sometimes I have a question, or you have a question, you want to ask it. It's like, all right, do I really need this?
That's true.
It's like, you know what? You don't need this, right? But the computer isn't going to tell you that information.
That's true too. And there's nothing worse than going to City Hall or going to the building department. Someone's telling you, okay, this is what you need to do. And you realize when you get there, you're trying to do it and you realize it's not the right thing to do.
Right.
And they steer you somewhere else.
Right.
And you're like, I didn't hear about this. Yeah. And that's more time, because also when you're trying to build something and trying to create something, time is of essence, you know?
I'm going to give you an example if I can.
Sure.
Somebody called me. I wasn't on the council. It was about a year ago. They called me. It's like, I got all my approvals, Tone, but now they're asking me to get an engineered drawing of the building and the land. Now, they needed a special permit to put their business in, which they received, but now they're asking for this. Now, mind you, the building hasn't changed since it was built, and the parking lot hasn't changed since it was built.
Which means they have plans there.
So, or
there's a history.
Of course, there's a history.
Okay.
And it's like, it cost him 2 months and $10,000. Now, for a small business person looking to open that door, 2 months alone is a big timeline.
Of course.
Let alone another $10,000 on top of that to hire the engineer.
And plus, it could be a seasonal business too.
Yeah.
You know?
So those are some of the things. It's like, do we really need to impose that on this person? In this situation, no, because he went through the special permit process. He told them exactly what he was going to do. They reviewed it. They reviewed the site. They accepted it and issued the permit. So it just didn't make sense to me.
What were they going to do with the additional information?
Yeah,
of the same width, the same length.
Nothing changed.
And the building was there
Nothing
probably
changed.
before the person who's given the permit that was there too as well, right?
Right.
So there's a history.
Of course, there's a history.
So why are you adding more information? Why are you adding more resources or
unneeded
information unneeded?
In my opinion.
In that expense.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I had another person call me. It's like they were doing some renovations, and I had asked them, it's like, would you like me to help you through the process? And they said, no, we'll go through the process. Well, 90 days later, I get the call. It's like, Tone, can you look into this for me? And, I made a phone call, and sure enough, they pulled it up. Yeah, this should have been issued within a week. Well, here it is 90 days later. And certainly the permit got issued within 15 minutes after that. But this is people who know how to work the system. How would you like to be somebody who's just moved to this community and is trying to open a business? Difficulty speaking and understanding the language. Forget about even knowing how to go through the process. Yeah. That's why I say we need that OBUDS person.
And I totally agree with you, because whatever process they went through when they were coming from the other country, we'll say, their country, it's a different process.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when they come here, they think it's one and two of the same in some instances, or they just don't know at all.
Right.
But when they do, they're in for a rude awakening sometimes, because they go like, whoa, I didn't have to do that back where I was here to open a business. But then they must have heard the conversation in some instances that, oh, the city is friendly to open a business. Oh, the city is welcoming to open a business. Of course, in the back end, the city wants these businesses because it helps in the tax base, and it eases the property tax, and it eases everybody. So why not have that open door policy and try to bring as many businesses and many projects in as possible?
Let's open them up. Let's we're a nation of opportunity.
Right.
Let's give them the opportunity.
Okay. So once again, Tony Economou is joining us. Worcester City Councilor is joining us here on Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd. I asked him the first question: as Worcester continues to grow, what specific initiatives are you supporting to ensure new development, including affordable housing, while also building sustainable and walkable neighborhoods? We talked about that. And the next question was economic opportunity. What steps is the council taking to ensure that local, minority-owned, and small businesses directly benefit the city's ongoing redevelopment project. So he answered those two, but we're going to continue back on number 2, and after that, we're going to go on number 3. When we come right back here on Future Focus Worcester, right here on Unity Radio, Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.
Hello, my name is Alvin Familia, president of the Manny 267 Foundation, and you are listening to Unity Radio, 97.9 FM, Worcester Community Connection.
Hey, what's up, Worcester? It is Jacqueline Carr, and I'm inviting you to be inspired with me each weekday morning, starting at 5 a.m. with the Jacqueline Carr Show on Unity Radio. I'll get you going with the motivating words, special guests, and the absolute best inspirational music, and a few other surprises. But you got to tune in to Unity Radio every day at 5 a.m. to get your praise on. It's the Jacqueline Carr Show from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. right here on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection, and also streaming on WUTY.org.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, host of Black in Business, Thursdays at 5 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9. Black in Business is a series of conversations with influential members of the Black business community. These entrepreneurs knows what it means to risk everything to create successful businesses and spark positive changes in the community. So join us. Again, I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, right here on Black in Business, Thursdays at 5 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
Support for Unity Radio 97.9 FM is provided by United Way of Central Mass, aiming to improve the community and break the cycle of poverty, and the Woosocks Foundation, seeking to make dreams come true for families in areas of education, social justice, recreation, and conquering cancer. Unity Radio, Worcester's Community Connection.
Activa la radio y Unity Radio 97.9 FM te invitan a escuchar el bloque latino todos los sábados de 7 de la mañana hasta la 1 de la tarde por los 97.9 FM en la ciudad de Worcester.
You're listening to Unity 97.9 FM, WUTY, Worcester.
Hey, welcome back to Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd, and you listen to Unity Radio, Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And joining us is Tony Economou, Worcester City Councilor. And we're talking about the growth, and we're talking about initiatives. We're talking about development right here for the city of Worcester. And thank you for joining us. As Worcester continues to grow, we're talking about initiatives about supporting and developing and affordable housing. So the first question I ask you, as a refresher, in case you're just joining us, sustainable infrastructure in housing. And just do a quick refresher. As Worcester continues to grow, what specific initiatives are you supporting to ensure new development, including affordable housing, while also building sustainable and walkable neighborhoods? We talked about that. And then right now we're on economic opportunity. What steps is the council taking to ensure that local, minority-owned, and small businesses directly benefit from the city's ongoing redevelopment projects? And we're going to stay there before we go into the third question, unless you want to do a refresher for the first one.
No, I think it all relates to each other too, because even, I was going to say, even like with the small business thing, an item came through to stop a portion of the stretch code, which is a new electrical code, which really puts a lot of emphasis on electricity being the main source of like a heating system. You cannot have gas or oil. Gas or oil would only be like a secondary in case of an emergency option. So to put a pause on that, because it's adding millions of dollars to development. So when you look at housing is always on such a fine margin as it is.
Mm-hmm.
All types of housing, even when you look at the big buildings being built.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
it matters. So all these things are before the council right now.
Let's see. Also, for those who may not know, let's talk about your district.
Sure.
Mention the number of your district. Your district.
District 1.
District 1. What does District 1 cover?
District 1 compromises from Great Brook Valley, Lincoln Street, Great Brook Valley, Lincoln Village, the Summit to the West Boylston line, the Burncoat area, a portion of Indian Lake, a portion of Salisbury Street in the west side, down towards where the Amazon plant is on West Boylston Street. It's a pretty vast district.
Greendale area?
Greendale.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Indian Hill.
Now, you also alluded a little bit that you ran for office before.
Yes.
And what district was that?
District 1 also.
District 1 is also. You ran, and then you were there for
6 years.
6
3
years.
terms.
You took a break.
Yep.
You came back, and now you're back again here.
Yes.
What are you doing? What did you do then that you're going to do differently now?
Again, I come at it from the same position. I'm here to help you. That's my only. I have no other inclination to go to state rep, state senate. None.
Some do.
I know. I'm just here. I was born and raised in Worcester. I have a lot of pride in my city, and I want it to be the best that it can be for all of us. It's not just singular. So that's, again, I came at it from the same space in my heart. So
now you could have went at large.
yes,
You went District 1, as you mentioned, and you could have gone to any other district. Why District 1?
well, you have to live in the district. Number one.
Okay. Yes.
So that's the main reason. I could have went at large, citywide, but quite honestly, I felt better known in my own district instead of trying to reintroduce myself to other parts of the city where I'm not as well known. In District 1, I've grown up there my entire life. I've coached my kids in baseball from T-ball to senior youth football. I'm the president of the North Worcester Business Association. Everything, my whole life is in District 1.
So now when it comes to, we ready for the third question? Okay. So community and transit connectivity. Looking ahead, how can we better connect our neighborhoods to downtown, biotech, and educational hubs through improved public transportation and cycling infrastructure?
So it's funny. I've been to when I was on the council before, I went to a couple of RTA board meetings when they were talking about the no fare, free fare. And, some of the questions that came up to me at that time were from a lot of the senior complexes. It's like not having access even to go to the grocery store where they don't drive. So that was part of the conversation. I think the WRTA truly needs to scale back service, perfect it in order to grow, right? Then I think that at some point they were doing too much and they weren't doing it well. Okay. So I think if my advice to them at that time too was people are already accustomed to your snow routes in the winter. They know those routes. Why not go back to basics, perfect that, and then see where the need is? And if we're not satisfying the need to, as you said, to the UMass Memorial Lake Ave campus or the Biotech Park, then we need to address that, right? Or if we're not addressing portions of the west side where college kids don't have access to downtown to go out and dine and everything, we need to look at that. So I'm in favor of looking at and improving that infrastructure for sure. When it comes to bike routes, I wish the city would just have, I've counted three or four different types of bike paths, if we call them that, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I'd like us to come up with one, maybe two for the just in case. I'm not opposed to them, but I do think we need to refine what we're offering so people can get accustomed to one system,
Okay.
And I don't think we're doing that at all.
Is Worcester a bike city?
I don't think it is a bike city at this moment.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't mean it won't be,
Right.
but I think, on top of that too, I'm going to get off tangent a bit,
Sure.
is the condition of our streets is, I don't need to tell you,
Right.
drive them every day.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm swinging. I'm swinging left. I'm swinging right. I
Oh.
feel like I'm in a one of those games.
Yeah.
Driving a car and you're swerving, trying to miss all the different objects that are coming
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah. Right.
And don't drive at night. Heavens forbid you drive at night, because the wheel's going to leave that street and go in someone's house.
Yeah.
You know, I'm waiting to hear that story.
Or even after a rainstorm, you think you're just going over a little bump or something,
Yeah.
and it's a 1 foot deep hole.
Yeah.
And you're putting $1,000 into your front end.
Right. So there's a lot of different things that has to take place here,
Yeah.
Tony. And how do you address it? Like when you're going back to the RTA and we talk about transportation, do they know who mainly uses that service and then trickle on down to try to find out, okay, this group usually uses the service, let's focus on that group and just work our way down, or they try to be everything to everybody?
I sense everything to everybody, but I would agree with you if, just like any business person would say, all right, where's our business coming from, right?
Of course.
Who's riding our buses, right? Is it the people who just don't want to drive downtown and just want to take the bus, public transportation? Or is it people who don't have the ability to drive or can't afford to own a vehicle, and they need to get to work to do their job too?
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you look at the hospitality industry, there's a lot of that around the city, and there's a lot of that where people just don't have the means to own a vehicle or want to own a vehicle. So we need to provide that service.
All right. So once again, Tony Economou is joining us, District 1 City Councilor. I'm Ernie Floyd. You listen to Future Focus Worcester. It's a program right here on Unity Radio that we suddenly quickly formed to put together because of the fact that the city's moving really fast. And I thought this would be an opportunity to invite the city councilors to come in. School committee members are coming in too as well. The city manager is going to be coming in. The mayor, everyone's going to be coming in here. And we're going to address these questions in reference to how we collectively are going to move the city forward. And as a recap, once again, we talked about infrastructure and capacity, which is question number one, as Worcester continues to grow. How is the school committee planning? I don't want school committee. I want the urban development here. Infrastructure on Worcester continues to grow with the specific initiatives about new development moving forward when it comes to affordable housing, when it comes to economic opportunity. And we talked about the community and transit connectivity, which we're talking about right now. We also talked about cycling infrastructure, educational hubs, downtown biotech, trying to connect all these neighborhoods. Is Worcester doing a good job or a decent job on trying to create density?
Yeah. And even with that too, I'm just going to go back to your transportation. Maybe we don't need a big 40-foot bus. Maybe we just need a smaller shuttle van or a shuttle bus, like to do a downtown loop or a loop from UMass to St. V's to Hanneman to Memorial. I think that's something that should be looked at. I think that might be a better avenue for the RTA, and just create various hubs around the city where you're picking people up to do that loop. So when it comes to density, I think we are working on density. I know they're working on right now new zoning bylaws. So I'd be curious to see what comes forward out of that. And that is all geared to create more density too.
Yeah. Well, Tony Economou, thank you for joining me here on Future Focus Worcester.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity, my friend.
Thank you. You too as well. And I like the fact that we're able to have the opportunity just have a conversation.
Yeah.
A sensible one, and we're able to speak our opinion.
Absolutely.
Right, and not have any prejudices about whether I like you or don't like
Yeah.
you. The important thing is to have this
Same here.
this conversation, because it's going to affect a lot of people in the city of Worcester. They're going to be redistricting everything when it comes to education.
Yeah.
They're doing a little bit when it comes to businesses.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we talked about the fact that it'd be nice to have a liaison. You call it a bud,
A no buds person.
a no buds person,
Yes.
and where they can help a person walk into the city hall or into the building.
Yeah.
Into the building when it comes to the building permits and stuff like that. You can tell when someone's walking aimlessly and turning around in circles, looking up in the sky.
Yeah.
Okay, that person needs help. Let's see how I can direct that person. All right, once again, this is Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd. Listen to Tony Economou, District 1. If you need information, how can people reach you?
People can call me 774-823-5588 or economout@worcesterma.gov.
Thank you once again. I'm Ernie Floyd. Listen to Future Focus Worcester right here on Unity Radio, Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.
Hey, this is Ricky Duran, and you're listening to Unity Radio on 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Q, host of the Woo 508, and I'm here with
your girl Liza, Miss Consistency.
And it's your girl Chantel in the building.
Yes, y'all go ahead and follow us everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the Woo 508. That's THEWOO 508. Woo!
Tell me a skin, roll me a bone, step into the groove, now you're in the zone.
Recreation Worcester is a free year-round program for youth run by the City of Worcester. The program enriches this city's youth in athletics, arts, academics, and social-emotional learning activities. Food is provided for free of charge for all youth participating in the program. Learn more at the Worcester Recreation website, www.worcesterma.gov/recreation-worcester. That's www.worcesterma.gov/recreation-worcester.
We are Lions International, the world's largest service organization. We are volunteers committed to strengthening our communities and supporting those in need, one act of kindness at a time. For more than a century, Lions have been serving a world in need, right here in our community and around the world. Lions International makes the impossible possible. This is your invitation to join us, because the only thing missing from our mission to make a difference is you. Visit lionsclubs.org to find a local Lions Club near you.
Tune into The Sustaining Life with Susan Hewlett, and together we will find our way to a healthier, healing lifestyle by listening to empowering stories of overcoming our struggles. Join me, Susan Hewlett, on The Sustaining Life every Wednesday from 5 to 6 on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. See you soon.
You're listening to Unity Radio, Worcester's Community Connection.
And welcome back to Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd, and Future Focus Worcester is a program right here on Unity Radio where we have the opportunity to talk about actual forward thinking when it comes to education, when it comes to planning, when it comes to government right here in the city of Worcester. And joining us now is Sue Mailman, school committee member right here in the city of Worcester. And we have a series of questions we want to ask her about how she intends to move the city of Worcester forward when it comes to education. Sue Mailman, welcome to Future Focus Worcester.
Good job, Ernie, asking everybody the tough questions. Let's,
Yeah, exactly like that. So, well, I know they get asked all the time. They get stopped in the street. They go to the meetings and there's fire and brimstone and the whole thing and sparks. And I just want to get the basic information, talk to you socially, respectfully, and get the information because of the fact that whether I like you, whether I don't like you, it doesn't matter at this point because the city is moving so fast and it's affecting everybody. And you better get on board or else you're going to be pushed over and run over if you're not involved with the development of the city.
One of the things I try to remind myself of is that, and it's hard sometimes because schools are fighting a million battles every single day. And, how many buildings do we have? 46 or some crazy amount. And there's always something that's very important that's going on. And so to take yourself out of the here and now, your question is about future focus, right? Is tough sometimes when we're fighting these typical battles. I think your first question is about population.
Sure. It's about, let's see, infrastructure and capacity. As Worcester continues to grow, how is the school committee planning to adopt school infrastructure and staffing to support the influx of new families over the next 5 years?
So awesome question. And we are actually just starting a project about redistricting, which is important. And I also think when I thought about this question, I thought, we really don't know what's going to happen to the school population. We've been growing and our city's getting, our population is growing. But what's going to happen with immigration? We have seen a real hit to immigration. That's, in my opinion, not good for this country, not good for this city. And it concerns me about where our numbers will go. You hear, the talk every day is we've got all these amazing apartments, but they're very expensive. And the people that go to the Worcester Public Schools need to find affordable places to live in our city. So I'm hoping in the next few years that the offset to some of the kind of maybe more expensive housing that's been built will be some of the, work we're trying to do at Curtis Apartments or Lakeside. And but the question still remains, will our population grow? So regardless of growth, and we are predicting, because the demographics, Ernie, for the schools say it should be coming down. But I think our city should be growing if we can reset this nation on the path that it was on just a few years ago, which is, we welcome immigrants.
They play a vital role in the growth of everything. And I don't know why, not to get political, why people don't feel as though that they don't play a role.
Well, it is political.
A lot of
but it's
instances they are
also
playing a
real.
role, and sometimes they're playing a role behind the scenes.
100,
and we're not recognizing it, and some of us are benefiting from that.
100%.
But then when it comes to the forefront, the same person who's benefiting from the immigrants behind the scenes is the same person in some instances who's saying, okay, we're against immigrants. I don't understand that mentality.
I don't either. And our goal, a problem that's like not been rectified ever is how do we create a path for citizenship? And that is so fundamental and so real. I mean, as long as we've known each other, that has been something that nobody has addressed. And that is a shame because we want people to come to this country. I mean, I feel like the world right now must be looking at us saying, who would want to bring their family to this country with the craziness that we have going on?
It's been a huge shift.
It has been a shift. And I pray that it does not, that we can get it back because frankly, we need to, in order for us to succeed as a city, we need these communities.
We definitely need these communities. And then also by talking in reference to addressing this question, planning to adopt school infrastructure and staffing to support the influx of new families over the next 5 years, you're already experiencing overcrowding in some of the schools.
Yes,
right?
100%.
And you had to,
in certain neighborhoods, right?
Right. You had to take away a sixth grade, I understand.
Yes.
At Rice Square. And it's like, where are they going to go?
They
And how
went
you
to
gonna
East
disseminate
Middle.
that?
And
Right.
and so those schools on the east side, which we call the north side, which always kind of cracks me up. Maybe someday we could fix that when
Sure.
we fix the redistricting.
That's on the list.
I'd say, let's say east is really east. But anyways, so we've talked incessantly about building new high schools, and the Mass School Board Authority has School Building Authority has thankfully approved 4 or 5 new schools, and we have one more to do, Burncoat. That
Sure.
doesn't take care of our middle schools, and it doesn't take care of our elementaries. And I think that you've heard recent talk about the Fanning Building. I am in favor of us talking about the Fanning Building because that is a building that is going to take substantial infrastructure dollars for windows, for roofs, for whatever,
It's an old building.
elevators.
That's
It's
what
an
it
old
is.
building, but it's an incredible facility. It's a lot cheaper to invest in that old building than it is to build a new one.
Right. And there's a lot of development going on. There's a proposed housing development, which is like a stone's throw. In that little lot
100%.
right there too. So imagine if that comes into fruition.
Correct. So Chandler Elementary, could we do something with that school. I mean, I think that's what's on the docket. I'm going to the first meeting tonight where we're going to be talking about redistricting. And I think sometimes too, we hear, well, it's not redistricting, it's reorganizing. I would love us to be a city that's not afraid to talk about the big things.
Right.
And this is a big thing. And personally, Ernie, I think more integrated schools, which does not mean busing everybody, but more integrated schools is good for everybody. It helps all the kids. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of strong programming. You know
Sure.
that at Worcester Tech, at the vocational school. Thankfully, in Worcester, we have a lot of high schools that are doing vocational programs in the schools. It's not quite the same because of the schedule. If you go to Worcester Tech, you have one full week of shop and one full week of academics. At the other schools, there's not quite as much shop time. I'd like us to continue to try to get there for the future.
Yeah, because there's a huge list of people trying to get into tech, and if you're not going to be able to be getting into tech, it'd be nice to spread the 704 around to the other different schools, right?
And we are doing that, Ernie. I want you to know that. Like
It's
right
true. It is.
now at Worcester Tech, there's, the formula says we're taking kids from all the different neighborhoods of the city, which is good. So dual language is another program that would create that is strong programming that supports all families. And we're created Worcester Chandler Magnet, which is now Worcester Dual Language
Right.
School. It has a dual language program. Do you know Framingham has massive dual language programs? Why can't we have more than one? So I want us to grow that dual language programming in Maine South and possibly on the east side. I'd like to have one per quadrant that we could look towards.
Well, that's why we have our school committee members who can address that and who can represent that and go into those neighborhoods, listen to the people, and also be able to walk around and go into those infrastructures to say, okay, let's go back to the board, let's go back to the table, let's have this discussion. So,
Right.
which leads us to question number 2. What specific initiatives are being prioritized to ensure Worcester Public Schools students are prepared for the city's evolving economic landscape, particularly in the fields such as biotech and technology? And you kind of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. And so each of the high schools, we have a diesel program at South. We also have.
I hear there's a monster program over there.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
pretty, and kids like it. And we've got great instructors. And so it's exciting.
Can you replicate that? Not to interrupt you. Can you replicate that even further by having businesses locally integrate into the schools and to give them firsthand business knowledge and infrastructure as this diesel company from Route 20 has come in?
Yeah.
Can you repeat that with other businesses as well?
100%. So Ernie, and you're aware, like at the vocational school, each of the trades has a advisory committee.
Of course.
And so the folks that serve on those advisory committees are typically our local employers. And so that's an avenue for them to get interns, but it's also an avenue for the businesses to talk to the schools to say, what's up and coming? Where do we need to go in the next pass? So I think that our path, I think that the work we do on that vocational side is critically important. I think it's strong programming, just like the dual language that we talked about. Biotech is at
Huge.
Doherty, right? So we
Incredible school, by
we
the
have
way.
a program at Doherty and we have a program at Worcester Tech for biotech. Technology is embedded in really all of our programmings, and some of the technology that we talk about right now in this new world with AI, et cetera, is do we want to be careful with technology with the young kids? And I believe that we should be careful with the technology with the young kids.
When you're reinventing things or you are inventing things, it should come with a little bit of rules, like some precautions.
Yes,
you know,
correct,
in that sense.
correct.
Because sometimes, or not sometimes, all the time, someone's really innovative.
Yeah.
On one hand, when we're able to create something that's good,
Yeah,
there's someone lurking in the background is ready to create something that's bad.
I know.
Which is unfortunate.
And I think the whole thing that I'm learning about, about our critical thinking, about our, you use a GPS in your car, you get in the car, sometimes you put the address for the market in the car. You know how to get to the market. We all know how to get to the market, but we still rely on these technologies. And I think it takes away certain aspects
I
of
want the
our
shortest
brain.
route to the market, though.
I say that all the time too. No traffic.
No traffic. No, never mind. No, anyways.
No potholes. Could we do that?
Who said that?
That would be cool. But I
Okay.
think so. But one thing I want to think, when we think about jobs, right? I was, the chamber put a program on 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was about, the gentleman from the chamber talked about biotech, talked about, development with the construction that's going on, and talked about what else was the manufacturing, which I think we talk about. And I went up to him because somebody on the panel was from UMass. UMass healthcare and school has 13,000 employees. Like if we just take the topic of healthcare, right, or education, look how many educators we need in our systems and in our 10 colleges. How many colleges do we have here?
About 12, 13.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot, if not more.
And so I think education and healthcare are like, and I know in the Worcester Public Schools, we want Spanish-speaking educators. We're working very hard so that we can have, as I talked about, the dual language and representation in our city.
All right, once again, we have Sue Mailman joining us, school committee member, and listening to Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd, and we're having this forward-thinking educational planning about the city of Worcester, and it's very important because what I want you to touch base, school committee member Sue Mailman, when it comes to this redistricting that's coming up, it's going to come up fast and furious, similar to the nature on how the city itself is redistricting when it comes to its city councilors and what's going on in the future just in general. You cannot put your head in the sand any longer. You have to be attentive, or else this is going to roll you over with you or without you. So when you come back, we're going to continue this discussion on Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.
Unity Radio.
Just kicking around. We discovered a love that had never been found.
Worcester, we've got you.
Activa la radio y Unity Radio 97.9 FM te invitan a escuchar el bloque latino todos los sábados de 7 de la mañana hasta la 1 de la tarde por los 97.9 FM en la ciudad de Worcester.
Hi, I'm Ernie Floyd, host of the Unity in the Community Show on Unity Radio 97.9. Join me and my guests as we discuss topics on embracing our diverse cultural communities, the music, the arts, and healthy lifestyles. I'm Ernie Floyd, host of the Unity in the Community Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
Support for Unity Radio 97.9 FM is provided by Ruth H. and Warren A. Ellsworth Foundation, established in 1964, focusing on education, social services, and youth agencies, and the Mildred H. McAvoy Foundation, giving primarily to health, educational, cultural, and human service organizations. Unity Radio, Worcester's Community Connection.
Let's talk, Worcester. Unity 97.9.
Once again, welcome back to Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd, and joining us is Sue Mailman, the school committee member here in the city of Worcester, and we're talking about moving forward. We're talking about how the school committee is planning to adopt infrastructure and staffing to support the influx of new families over the next few years. Also, we're talking about what specific initiatives are being prioritized to ensure Worcester Public Schools students are prepared for the city's evolving economic landscape, particularly in the fields such as biotech and technology. And that's what we were talking about. I like to stay there because of the fact this is a specialty for you when it comes to manufacturing, when it comes to technology, and we're talking about the big schools and Burncoat's online right now too. In those schools, it's amazing the schools are up because they were talking about that years ago. Just the fact the way economy is and way times are, the fact South High, incredible. Doherty, incredible. Worcester Tech led the way.
Yes,
of course.
100%.
Right. And I'd be remiss not to mention Ted Coughlin, your dad. Right. I love him. And
a rule breaker, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Brim Firestone. He was tough. He was tough. And
Yeah.
I have to tell you publicly too, if it wasn't for him, I would not be here today,
Oh.
honestly, because you know how much he supported me in the very beginning. I had all these ideas, and I would come in there. He would invite me up to the third floor in his office. And he would
Yes.
sit there, and there's another gentleman
Yes.
that would be there too.
Jim Duffy, probably.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Yes,
And he'll
yeah.
listen to my stories and stuff like that. And he'll sit there and he'll give me some advice and so forth and so on. And he would fund me and he would support me.
Yeah,
And like I said, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for
Yeah.
him. I'd like to
Yeah.
thank you and your dad.
Oh, he was great. He was great.
He was
And he
great.
loved the entrepreneurial, the new
Mhm.
thinker, like what can we do differently?
Right,
And
exactly.
so,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's instilled in you.
Kind of. It's some definitely parts of him are instilled
Yeah.
in me for sure. For
I'd
sure.
like to, so.
Yeah.
So what we talked about once again, the initiatives that are being prioritized to ensure Worcester Public Schools students are prepared for the city's evolving economic landscape, particularly in the fields such as biotech and technology. And that extends too besides biotech and technology. And share with that because of the redistricting that's coming up. People have to get prepared for that because I have this sneaky feeling that in the neighborhood where you could be living across the street from another person, right, for years, and they could be attending the same school.
Correct.
I got this sneaky suspicion that there's going to be a border or some line going to drive between that neighborhood, and all of a sudden the person across the street is going to go further somewhere else versus going to the same school with their partner
Well,
what they
I
did in
mean,
the past.
I think-
Potentially. I don't know.
Regardless of wherever you live, right?
Yes.
In Massachusetts, in your city or town, when we talk about these things like redistricting, that kind of stuff is going to happen to someone.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
I think Brian Allen has been our superintendent, very thoughtful to say, look, people are going to have time to adjust to what these new lines are. We're not trying to disrupt people. We're trying to more appropriately aggregate population into our schools
Of course.
across the city. And there's certain sections that are very busy and other sections that are less so. I think at the same as district lines where what schools people will go to, I also think the programming element that we talked about, or even when you start talking about what jobs we have, this is always evolving. This is not like none of this is static. And so my hope would be in this next, 4 or 5 years that by quadrant, our city is divided into quadrants. We can have excellent programming in each of those schools. We could have a community school model, Ernie, you know what those are, right?
course.
Where
Mhm.
morning to night we have our schools open. So there's after school programming, there's community partnerships that are brought in to help with that.
And there's night classes too. Of course.
100%. And we know we've got them at Tech. And frankly, we needed those classes at Tech because Worcester does not, the level of funding for a vocational program is the same. But because we're a poorer district, our dollars get spread out amongst everybody. So an Assabet or a Monty Tech or some of the other schools actually get more funding for their equipment. So our nightlife program helps to provide supplies and equipment to the day school.
And congratulations to Worcester. It's well attended too.
It is, and it's
nightlife.
grown.
Mhm.
It's
It has
grown. And I'll thank Brian Allen too for, investing in that as the superintendent. We do, to try to get it off the ground, like kind of towards the end of COVID, was a big undertaking because it had kind of died away.
Right.
And it's hugely important. We need young people and adults to have opportunities for retraining.
Any means necessary, as they say, right?
Yeah.
So question number 3, how can community members, particularly those listening to this LPM FM station, which is Unity Radio, get more involved in shaping the future of district policy in the long-term vision for Worcester's schools?
More and more, Ernie, I think like the platform that you have here is so important because I think that as our news is, what we learned today, right? Our newspaper is not going to get delivered to people's front door anymore. You're going to get your newspaper in the mail. So these local programs are so important to talk about what's really coming along. And you have always been a guy that wanted to integrate with that. You wanted to do programs, evolve with the schools and everything else. And I think that creates a stronger city. And I think it does feel like in the last, few years that there's been a little bit of a push away from being an open city and kind of closing things down. And I just appeal to you and your show and the work that you do to say, please keep going, because we need you to have voices at the table that others can listen to when they are ready to listen to them at the right times when they want to listen to them, not because it's at 3:00, but because they can listen later on. I think it's hugely important. Integration with those kinds of things, communication. How do we get the message out all the time is going to be really important for us.
And that's what we try to do here at Unity Radio. I really appreciate that, Unity 979. And joining us once again, Sue Mailman, school committee member. And when it comes to the school committee, are you open as far as, are you citywide or your district? And if which one are you?
So I have an at-large position.
At-large.
Maureen Benender is an at-large position, and of course the mayor is an at-large position.
And what does at-large mean for those who may not know?
At-large means we represent. Everybody represents the whole city. We all school committee people represent the kids in our district. Okay. When you're serving in a district role, you are elected by the people that live in your district. This is something that we could fix if we would like to talk about the charter one day in the city. And I would love for us to talk about the charter.
We can come back for that one.
I'll come back for that one because we have 5 districts on the city side and 6 districts on the school side. So for the voter, it's very confusing. And we really should have, if it's 6 districts, let's have 6 districts across the city. So everybody knows who their school committee person is and who their city councilor is.
Now, something took place prior to this as well, right? And then what happened was you were operating at what entity, and then the law came in and you had to restructure to present yourself to where you are today.
So gratefully, Worcester Interfaith, NAACP, and a few other organizations and individuals got together, and we're going to create a lawsuit in the city to say you are not providing representation. So I would argue, Ernie, on that point that we weren't just not providing representation on the school side. Clearly that was true on the city side, but we didn't fix those districts over there. And I think there is an appetite in the city right now for some charter review. And I think that is the way that we could align those districts again. And I think it would be very important. And
the judge came in and said, okay, we agree with you. And then that's why you have the at-large, and that's why you have these districts.
So the city settled. The city decided to settle and go along with the proposal that the groups had brought forth. And that was the 6 districts, 2 of which are majority minority, and that's District B and District D. So kind of the corridor from Lincoln Street all the way to Austin Street, and then Main South are B and D.
So is this plan working? Was that a loaded question?
I don't know. I feel like we are. It's funny in the city, and you live here. I've only been elected. This is the 3rd time I've been elected, and I think my view before and my view now are a little bit different.
Yes.
And I think that we are always on the lookout for people that want to run, and I think we also need to uplift. You find that some of the people that are running are older. Some of that is because they have time. Right? I mean, these positions take a lot of
takes you into the evening,
time
away
and
from
energy.
Your family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially if you're working during the day too as well.
100%. And we shouldn't, there's many cities that actually in Boston, right? They have full-time city councilors, for example. All those things we could think about and talk about if we did a review of the charter.
Okay, so we'll come back. We'll table that one. How's that? Am I sounding like a school
Sounds
committee
good.
member?
I'm coming back.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
You sound like a school committee person.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Don't forget, once again, you listen to Future Focus Worcester. We'll talk about forward thinking when it comes to education. We'll talk about forward thinking when it comes to government. We had the good fortune to listen to Tony Economou, District 1. He was joining us earlier. And also we have Sue Mailman, at-large school committee member. And they took the time to come in and have this discussion. They're going to come back again. And we'll give you another series of questions. And we're going to talk about the improvement and development here in the city of Worcester. Thank you, Sue Mailman,
Sounds great.
for joining me. Okay.
Thank you, Ernie. Bye.
Thank you once again. Future Focus Worcester, Ernie Floyd, Unity Radio, Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.